Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look at some of the stocks on the move today in Europe. I'm Stephen Carroll with Lizzie Burden, and we're joined by Bloomberg reporter Chloe Mele for more. Chloe, let's start with Vodafone then. Returning to growth in its biggest market in Germany. What's been the stock reaction?
Well, it's been pretty positive. So not only did it manage to return to growth in that biggest market, but it also is now targeting the upper end of its guidance for the 4 years. So that has really lifted the shares this morning and confirmed that the ongoing turnaround is working quite well for Vodafone. Over the last couple of years, it's been simplifying operations, streamlining the company and selling off some of the assets to do that. So it's divested some businesses in Italy and Spain, for example. It's also merged with Three here in the UK. And now, after all of those measures, the focus has been on reviving growth in Germany, which, as mentioned, is the biggest market. It's quite a difficult market with a lot of price rivalry between a lot of telecom operators, and then also new regulatory changes that meant that Vodafone lost some of its customers because a new law stopped housing associations from bundling TV packages with rent, and so that meant that Vodafone lost some of the customers with that contract. But now it seems that things are getting a little bit better, and that the revenue in Germany is growing again. So that is helping to mitigate some of those challenges, and we've seen that reflected in the shares this morning.
Okay, so that's Vodafone, but look at Hilton Foods this morning, Chloe, down more than 22%. Why?
Yeah, so it fell massively. So it said that it was quite cautious about 2026 and that profit progression would be really difficult next year. So Hilton Foods is a producer of meat and seafood, and actually what's interesting is that some of that difficulty is actually has to do with the US government shutdown. So essentially its smoked salmon business has been facing regulatory restrictions on shipments to the US, and that drove the costs higher. But then the situation was worsened even more because the ongoing government shutdown resulted in delays to getting approvals for facilities to start production again. So now it means that production will not restart at all this year, and that has really hurt the business. So it's quite interesting to see how something happening over in the US has had an impact on this really small UK business. And then beyond that operational disruption, Hilton Foods is also dealing with much softer demand for whitefish in particular. That's because of inflation and really cautious consumer spending. So despite the festive season approaching, it doesn't look too good for Hilton.
And Chloe, lastly, we'll turn to the Dutch payments company Adyen. Their shares up this morning, giving investors a bit of reassurance.
Yeah, absolutely. So they provided some targets that reassured investors. So they expect revenue growth of about 20% in any given year after 2026. They also said that they see a significant potential to expand market share. So they compete with the likes of PayPal, for example. So quite a big competitor, and also said that it is positioned to become one of the largest players in the industry. So that got investors quite excited because the targets look a little bit better than expected. And that also points to quite bright prospects, despite the fact that the payments industry has warned of macroeconomic uncertainty, really slowing down customer activity. So Adyen just recently actually withdrew its guidance for faster revenue growth for 2025 because of some retail clients over in Asia being hurt by US tariffs. But it seems that Adyen is now quite confident about growth beyond 2025, even with those challenges in mind, and that led the shares higher this morning.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.